Hello, my snarky loves. Welcome back to another Snarky in the Suburbs podcast. Fun stuff. Why do I always say that? Every single time I say fun stuff. Like, I'm not going to say I got some boring stuff. If you want to stick with me for about 30 minutes, fine. But I don't know, maybe move on. No, because this is fun stuff. I have a Dear Snarky letter about a relationship test. And it's testing my last nerve. Hate stuff like that. Then I have a peeve. And it's stingy grandparents. This peeve was brought to my attention by somebody via, I believe, an Instagram message. And I said, oh, honey, I will look into this for you. She's like, please talk about it on your podcast. I'm here to serve you. And I've got some sad, snarky news that we'll start off with that at the top. And an observation, but would you ditch your partner or travel companion if you were upgraded to first class and they weren't? Yeah, I got a quick answer for that. Then I have a confession from the Snarky Confessional. Y'all, I find this quite a hilarious confession, and it concerns my mother. So let's get into it, starting with the sad, snarky news. I'm afraid there has been some relationship news that's not positive that has happened in my family. And I'm going to tell you first that my husband and I are getting a divorce. The reason why we're getting a divorce is because he had the nerve to tell me that he thought maybe I need a co-host for my podcast to make it better. No! How dare he? And this is a man who's never listened to my podcast, which is good. I don't want anybody in my family meddling in my business, okay, and telling me, I can't believe you said that. I want full freedom. And so I told him, I go, well, we're divorcing. I texted my children, your dad and I are getting a divorce. And the reason with his little, explanation was like, no, because it would make it easier for you. Because I've been telling him I want to do more podcasts, but I just don't have the time. And then a couple hours later, he's like, you need to get a co-host for your podcast. It would make it better. Okay. Then I had to explain to him, I'm like, listen, it would be more work because you'd have to meet about what you were going to talk about. And then you'd have to have like a whole rundown what you're going to talk about. And then what about my tangents? What about my tangents? What about my sidebars where I just go off on a totally different thing that wasn't planned for? No, and then you'd have to find a co-host you get along with. And, could I have friends co-host? No. I mean, because I wouldn't want a working relationship with a friend. Does that make sense? Or are you thinking, no, you just don't want your friends stealing your spotlight? No, it'd be more work for me, not less. Then when you have to be in the same room, I'd have to hook up 2 mics or do a Zoom. I don't need it. So, divorce proceedings might be ensuing because he said that. And my daughter, God bless her, said, he's never even listened to it. Why would he say that? And then I had to go, he said it would make it easier for me. And she goes, he knows nothing about podcasting, Mom. And I'm like, you're right. Sorry, I'm touching myself so much on my face and neck. I'm kind of really itchy. Apologize for those watching that have to see me go and claw myself. That's the news. The nerve. I was fearful when my husband got on TikTok. I go, God, he can't be watching my TikToks. He never did, so that's good. So I really don't want him watching or being involved in any of that. The less he knows, the better, people. The better. Okay, now on to the Dear Snarky letter. And of course, I'm not divorcing my husband. Because you know why? Okay, he's a really nice, very good man. And I love him. But it sounds like a lot of work. And I'm kind of lazy. I can't even imagine the financial stuff, separating stuff, selling the house, finding some else place to live. No, thank you. I don't need that. Okay, but enough about me. Let's go to the letter. Dear Snarky, I've been dating a man I really like for about 7 months. I'm 32 and he's 36. He's really outdoorsy, so a lot of our time together is spent hiking, kayaking, and doing other stuff outside. I like all of this, but the one thing I won't do is camp. I've done it and I hate it. But he's told me that over Labor Day weekend, he wants to take me camping starting on a Friday for 3 days as part of a long distance hike where we'd be setting up a new campsite every night. He told me that this is his test to see if our relationship is ready for the next step, When I reminded him how much I hate camping, he said that this was all part of the test to see what I would do for him. No. I was speechless and didn't agree or disagree, but I'm torn. This guy is textbook great. Fantastic job, attractive, good personality. But I've never been in a relationship where I've been told I was going to be tested. And I'm a little freaked out about that. Should I go because he's worth it? It's just 3 days and I know I could camp for 3 days. Or is this a red flag? Right now I'm at 50% red flag and 50% not. What are your thoughts on this situation? Sign, conflicted camper. My thoughts are that this guy's a jerk, and I'm going to tell you why I think he's a jerk. So you're doing everything he likes. He likes to hike, he likes to spend time outdoors, he likes to kayak. What do you like to do? And why aren't you guys doing that? It kind of sounds like to me, and this is overreaching from like, a 400 word Dear Snarky letter, that your relationship is very centered on his likes and really not centered on what you like to do. So, and we've all done that. I've done it as a young woman where you just kind of take your personality. Oh, my boyfriend likes to do this, so I'm liking to do it. I get it. The one thing you won't do is camp. And to that I say, good for you, sister. I won't do it either. Any excursion where I cannot bathe, okay, with like lovely smelling soaps and shampoo my hair, and any excursion where I have to dig a hole to use the restroom and then cover up said hole, no, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. So I understand your line in the sand. No camping. I'm for it, people. And people that love to camp, good for you. Good for you. It's just not me. Just not my thing. So he knows you don't like camping. So he's going to make you go on a long distance hike for 3 days and 3 nights. I guess if it's Labor Day weekend, where you're having to like haul all this stuff, set up a campsite. Why? Who tests someone in a relationship? The main test you need in a relationship, if you're getting serious, is to take this person to spend time with your family. And if they can survive that, if they're like, okay, I can handle that, then that's a test they need to pass. Because you don't want to go further if the person's like, hard pass on your family. I'm running away. That's the only test. So the fact that he knows he's going to make you do something you hate for 3 days and 3 nights, call it a test. And then what did he say? To see if you pass the test? Oh yeah, what you would do for him? Girl, it's not a 50% red flag. It's 100% red flag. And it's a waving. That flag is a waving. What are you thinking? This guy sounds like a huge just bag of rocks, okay? Terrible. I mean, if you're in a relationship, someone should not make you want to do something for 3 days and 3 nights that you have said up front, I don't want to do, I'm not doing it. That's horrible. 2, to tell you that he's testing you, like right up front. It's a test. And then 3, letting you know that I want to see what you would do for me. This guy sounds like he needs therapy. I'm not going to say he's a narcissist. I don't know. But run like the wind. I know, absolutely not. This guy sounds horrible. And I get this all the time. I think we've done a couple Dear Snarky letters in the podcast. We're like, oh, this person seems great. They got a great job. They got a great this. They got a great that. That all goes out the window, okay? When this so-called great person is forcing you to do things you don't want to do and is telling you that he's going to test you to see what you would sacrifice for him. Actually, I fear for you. I fear if you go on this, what if he leaves you? I had a Dear Snarky letter where like the dad went out with the boyfriend, I guess to test him, and left him. Just left him in the woods with like nothing, like a water bottle. No, this is not good. I mean, what if he tests you like to see if like, you can defend yourself against a bear? I don't know. No. My advice as a much older woman is you are going to break up with him. You're going to tell him, I'm sorry, I don't do camping, and you knew that, so I am not going to go camping with you. And 2, I am not going to be tested by you, okay? And 3, I don't need to be tested by you to see what I would do for you, so no thank you, sir. Relationship over. And then I would treat yourself to a little spa vacation over Labor Day to just like, wash that man right out of your hair. This is awful. Just awful. I can't even with this. It's terrible, and you should give the guy the biggest heave-ho. And when he goes, if he does indeed go on his long-distance hike, well, I hope he meets some bears. Just going to say that. I hope he meets some bears. Okay, done with that. Was that too harsh? I don't know. I don't think so. Ugh. Wadding that letter up and throwing it in the trash, where that man who wants to test you needs to go. So follow my advice. It's excellent. Sometimes I don't know about my advice. I go, is this good advice? I don't know a lot about a situation. I feel like, I shouldn't maybe be weighing in, and I'll say that. I don't know if this is good advice, or I'll say check the comments, but this, 100% correct. It's great advice. Okay, now let's move on to my peeve. This peeve was, like I said, brought to me from a woman via Instagram, and she linked something from an Instagram account that's at Hey Janelle Marie. And this woman just tells mother like horrible in-law stories. I mean, that's her whole account is horrible in-law stories. And I'm like, oh my, that is a lot of bad stuff there. But this one was a story, and she tells other people's stories. So it's not just, one story after another about her in-laws. It's other people's stories. And this other woman shared a story with her about her stingy in-laws. She said her in-laws always complain that they never get to babysit, but they live out of town. So the couple planned a trip. The in-laws flew in to take care of the kids. She said she had the fridge stocked, loaded, like, everything listed out, do this, do that, activities for the kids, whatever. When the mother and father got back from their little break from their kids, she said, like, as soon as they put down their suitcase, like, walk in the foyer, put down your suitcase, okay? Close the handle on your wheelie suitcase. Her father-in-law presented them with a bill for, like, every chicken nugget those kids ate, anything they did, bag of chips they might have bought out of the pool, anything they paid for out of pocket was a bill, and also included their airfare to fly there and back to watch the kids. And she says, not that this matters, but that her father-in-law is a surgeon who sold his practice for millions of dollars, so it's not like they're hurting. And then the grandparents left, and she's like, oh my God, please talk about this. Yeah, I'll talk about stingy grandparents. If you have your parents or your husband's parents come stay with you and they present you a bill afterwards, this is their way of telling you, I don't ever want to do this again. This wasn't fun. I didn't like it. And I'm not going to just tell you, oh, unavailable for next time. I'm going to give you a bill so you never ask me again. That's what's happening there. And I think a lot of grandparents would rather complain that they never see the kids than actually see the kids. Like, it's easier to complain and then see the kids. Maybe not. Now, I'm going to also say that's a big ask. I don't know how long this couple was gone. If they're gone a week, grandparents watching your kids for a week when you're out of town, that's a really big ask, especially if they're not used to being around their grandkids because they live out of town. So maybe they didn't know what they got themselves into, and they're like, we never want to do this again. But it still sucks. They shouldn't have given you a bill. They should have just paid for it, and then the next time you ever asked again, they would just say, oh, we're busy. Oh, we have a trip planned for that time. You don't do that. That's like absolutely horrible. So furthering my peeve is just, it's a two for people. My peeve is people who suck at being grandparents. But then my peeve is adult children that expect their parents to be better grandparents than maybe they were even parents. And I have something I'm going to share, and it may tick people off, and I may be totally off base. I may be 100% wrong. Let me know. But a lot of people, young couples with kids, when they get on social media, they talk about how their grandparents were great, and how their grandparents picked them up from school, and how their grandparents kept them and did all this stuff. And so now when their parents have a chance to be grandparents, they absolutely suck at it. They're really, really bad at it. And I had this thought the other day, and I'm like, am I right? Let's put it out there into the atmosphere. Oh, you hear my dog barking because my husband's just playing with the dog. I told him I'm podcasting. Please, he wants me to get a co-host, and he doesn't respect my podcasting space? I don't know. Divorce might be back on. Anyway, so maybe the reason these people with kids now, these young couples with children now, who had great grandparents, maybe the reason their grandparents were so great is because their parents sucked as parents, and the grandparents were jumping in to fill a need. Like they saw that we're going in. I don't know. Or Or maybe they just had great grandparents. And I mean, and that's terrible to say some parents sucked, but maybe like, the grandparents realize we're more into these kids than the parents, or these parents need our help. So we are going to like, double down and do all this stuff. I don't know. But just because you had really great grandparents, you can't expect your parents to also be great grandparents. And I've said this before, maybe, and I got ring for it. So let me just double down. Let me just go in again for hate comments. Maybe your parents didn't like being parents. I mean, a lot of people did not enjoy the parenting experience. You're like, oh my God, they were so glad the kids were out of the house, or the teenage stuff. And maybe you as kids were handfuls, so there's no way anyone would enjoy that parenting experience. And they're just done. They don't want to do it again. They are retired. They want to enjoy their trips. They want to enjoy like whatever they want to do. They don't want to put up with all that. Does that make them bad people? No. It just does not make them the grandparents you thought you were going to have based on the grandparents you did have. Does that make any sense? It kind of gave me a headache. Just even saying that out loud, it kind of gave me a headache. But anyways, I think you get the drift, because everyone listening, watching, whatever, is very smart. So, stingy grandparents suck. People that are bad grandparents, there could be many reasons. And I've talked about this a lot, and I've done a bunch of TikToks about it, but I'll do it one more time, okay, as I explain to people. There are 3 journeys in a grandparent's life. You're going to have the go-go grandparent, and as everyone knows, I want that to be my grandma name, I think, go-go. You're going to have the go-go. They're young, they're agile, they still got it, they're doing squats, they're going to Pilates, whatever. They're doing a half marathon. These grandparents could be 55 or they could be 75. It's not defined by age. It is defined by health and vitality. Okay? Then you have the slow go. You have the grandparents that are slowing down. They can't do what they used to do. And then you have a no-go where your parents are just too old. They're too old to deal with this. They've got health issues, whatever. So it just depends what phase of life that grandparent is in. My parents were always in like the no-go, because I'm the youngest of 4 and waited till I was 35 to have my first grandchild. My parents were old people. They were old. They would keep my kids, but they'd have to get a babysitter to help, and which was genius. But I felt bad. I mean, like, they're old, okay? They had some physical disabilities. So it just depends when you have that child and when you're hitting the grandparents. A lot of people are lucky and they hit the grandparent at the go-go stage. And then, that's great. But then eventually that grandparent's going to go to slow go. So, you just have to like deal with all that. Your parents aren't always going to be there. So that is one defense of people my age being grandparents. I don't have a grandchild, but I'm ready and I will be go-go. Go-go all the way. Now, in terms of just grandparents sucking, you can't make somebody be a good grandparent. You just can't make it. I mean, I want to say my in-laws sucked at being grandparents. I'm just going to say it straight up. They didn't know what a grandparent was supposed to do. They thought a grandparent was supposed to like discipline a child, or, no. And my kids were good little kids. They just didn't, I don't think, enjoyed any part of it whatsoever. And it was bad. Have I told you the story, the time my daughter cut her hair? Okay. So I left my daughter with my mother-in-law. She was like 3 years old. I had to run, I think, a doctor's appointment. So doctor's appointment, really quick. My son's already in school. They watch her. And I come back. So my mother-in-law and father-in-law had taken a nap with a 3-year-old in their house. My daughter had gotten scissors and cut her hair. I lost my shit. I mean, oh my God, I was so mad. I go, how did this happen? How did this happen? Look at her hair. How did this happen? And then they admitted that they had napped. And I'm like, with a 3-year-old? And her hair was a mess. I was like screaming. And I don't really lose my mind that often. I mean, like that. I mean, just verbally, just like, oh my God. So I put her in the car. You have to drive her like straight to like some hair salon at the mall where they can like fix her hair. It was horrible. It was horrible. That was the last time like my kids were left alone with them. Who takes a nap? Okay? They raised 3 children. They know you don't nap with a 3-year-old in your house. Anyways, that was the end of the road for me. So, I'm just telling you, grandparents is a mixed bag. When you get pregnant, do not expect or anticipate that your parents will be fantastic grandparents, because you never, ever know. And don't compare the kids your grandparents have to other grandparents, because their parents could be go-go. and yours could be no-go or no wanna go. I mean, let's talk about that. They're just not interested. They did their time, they're just not interested. So that's my peeve. The two for Peeve. Stinky grandparents, stingy grandparents, but then also people that expect more out of their parents than they're ever going to give. Quit, you can't wallow in it. You got to, so this is our reality. We are moving on from that. But it's hard to do. It is hard to do. I get that. But that's my peeve. But let's quickly, ever so quickly, move on to the observation. Okay, I saw this on social media, and it said, would you ditch your partner, companion, whatever, travel buddy, if you got upgraded to first class and they didn't? And my answer to that is a fast, hell yeah, I would. I would ditch them. I would wave bye-bye, have a nice flight. I would totally do it. If my husband, and he would be more likely to get upgraded to first class than me because he travels more, I go, if he got upgraded to first class, and this has happened to us, he's sitting in first class. Why should he suffer with me? Back in economy. Go enjoy your first class. And if the opportunity arises for me, then I will ditch him and I will go enjoy first class. I don't get people getting mad because their partner or someone got upgraded to first class and they took it. I don't get it at all. You enjoy that first class experience. That's why you have all those travel points and sign up for your Delta Club and all that kind of stuff. Go do it. Go do it. I don't get people getting mad about that. Like you both should suffer. No. Also, on a plane, how much are you interacting with the person you're traveling with? You sit down, you get your seatbelt on, you put your noise-canceling headphones on, you watch something on your phone or whatever, and then, the only interaction my husband has is like when the snack cart comes and he goes, get pretzels because I want extra pretzels because I don't eat stuff on a plane. I go, I'll get your pretzels. That's about it, okay? So I don't get sacrificing first class for anyone. Sorry, I would not leave a child, okay? But if I'm traveling with an adult and I get upgraded, it's bye-bye to whoever I'm traveling with. See you later, okay? I'll see you at the gate when we get out. Good, okay, yeah. No, I do not understand not letting a person you're with enjoy first class. And like some people say it's a relationship red flag. No, the letter we got about like the test and camping, that's a relationship red flag. Not the fact that whoever you're traveling with says, I'm going to do first class. Go. You should say go. Enjoy. Yeah, that's the correct response to me. But tell me if you agree or disagree. Now, on to the snarky confession from the Snarky Confessional. Y'all, I've had some things happen recently in my life that has made like my mom as just a mother, I'm just like, ugh. Because, I've talked about this before, when people like do stuff to your kids, I don't care if they're your adult grown children, you're like, eh. Where I wanted to go just, ballistic about something that happened to one of my adult grown children, which I will not do because, you don't do that. But it brought up so many funny stories about my mom. So my Snarky confession is my kick-assy mom. Just amazing. It's a two-parter. I'll tell the other part in the next podcast because she's done a lot of stuff. So my mom would be described as a little slip of a woman. She was kind of borderline petite and had kind of a pixie haircut. If you saw her, you would not think this woman was hell on wheels. You would not assume that at all. But if somebody like wronged her kids, she was like all over it. And she had a phrase that she would use. If you would tell your mom something or go, oh, this happened to me or this happened, and she would just look at you and go, I'll take care of it. If she said, I'll take care of it, it was like a siren would go off in her house. Ooh, 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 like warning, warning, warning. Like when I was young and she would say, I'll take care of it. That's all she would say. I would call my dad and go, Mom just said she'll take care of it. And he's like, oh my God, what did you tell her? What is she going to do? We didn't know. We had unleashed the Kraken, okay? We didn't know what was going to happen. She didn't say it very often. But if she did say, I'll take care of it, you knew something was going down. So anyways, when I was in middle school, junior high back in the day, I told her there was this male teacher that kept making remarks about my body. I said, this teacher is calling me fat. Y'all, I was anything but fat, okay? I mean, it was just ridiculous. But, just remarks, and, boys would hear it, and then other kids pick it up. It was very, very upsetting to me. So I told my mom, so this one teacher is calling me fat. And she's like, what? And then I told her, so the boys are picking it up, and she's like, what's his name? Because back in the day, you didn't do parent-teacher conferences. You didn't do back-to-school night where your parents walked through the school. if you were in trouble, that's the only time you got a parent teacher conference. So no news was good news. She didn't know jack. So I go, his name is so and so. So then next morning she hands me over lunch. She's like, I'm going to pick you up after school. Don't get on the bus. Because also back in the day, you took the bus or you walked. No parents. There wasn't like parent pickup. Okay, wasn't. That you got to school without mama. So I go, okay. And then I'm thinking, do I have a doctor's appointment? She's not telling me because I'm getting shots. I mean, seriously, that would be my mom. Well, I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to think about it all day and be worried. So I'm like, do I need shots? Why is she going to pick me up? So she picks me up. And we're in the car. And we're just sitting there. The car's not moving. She's parked like in the teacher parking lot. I'm like, why aren't we going somewhere? And she's like, I want you to point out that teacher when he walks out the door to get in his car. And I'm like, oh no, oh Lordy, no. So he walks out. He's a younger guy. I don't think he was even 30. And then I go, that's him right there. So she gets out of the car. It was a Pinto, by the way. A forest green Pinto. It was the 70s, people. Roll with me. So she gets out of the car and she, I believe, had I remember in my mind, she had like a floral skirt, maybe pearls, people, maybe pearls. This is the most unintimidating woman you would ever encounter. So she gets out of the car, she walks up to him, and she introduces herself as my mother. I'm in the car watching all this go down, fearing for everyone. And he goes, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And God, I remember this as clear as day. And she's like, it is not nice to meet you, sir. And she goes, and he's like taken aback, like he steps back, and she steps in closer. And she's like, my daughter's told me what you've been saying about her in class. And he's pretending like he doesn't remember. He's like, what? And he's, what have I been saying? And so she recounts, you've been calling her fat, you've been making comments on her appearance. And she goes, and this is going to stop right now. Then she goes crazy. So my mom was born and raised in West Virginia. Her dad was a coal miner. Like he went down into the mines, came home, like had the miner's helmet, like dirty outdoor shower for him so he wouldn't track it in the house. And he's a coal miner. So she gets in his face. And this is New Jersey, people. New Jersey, okay? And there's this like little slip of a woman, okay, with her pixie cut and her pearls on, get in this guy's face. Little lilt of a southern accent. And she's like, I'm going to tell you something. She goes, I was raised in the hollers of West Virginia. Hollers. I think that means like deep in the mountains, okay? Hollers of West Virginia. And she goes, my father was a coal miner. He went deep into a mine, and you see things, and you make friends that you have for life. And she goes, and some of those people in that mine are not good people that you'd want to meet outside that mine. She goes, but they're a family. They're a fraternity. And she's like in his face with his finger. He's kind of still like backing up, every little bit. And she's like following him. And she's like, I am a coal miner's daughter. And I'm telling you right now, if you make any comments about my daughter, she goes, negative or positive, you are not allowed to speak her name. She goes, I'm going to make sure people come after you. Like, it's not even the mob, it's Jersey. It's like, I guess some like band of like coal miners are going to be like summoned and go after this guy in New Jersey. I'm like, come on, Mom. But she was in it to win it. And this guy's like really getting scared. And I could just tell because he's like eyes darting and everything. And he's like, oh, I won't. I promise I won't. And she's like, if I were you, until my daughter's out of your class and graduated and gone on to high school, I'd be watching my back. Then this little slip of a woman with her pearls walks around, gets back in the car, the Pinto, turns her head and looks at me and says, ice cream? Oh my God. I was scared of her. I'm like, what do you mean ice cream? She's like, well, that's done. That's taken care of. Ice cream? For years, when I would see my mother have little snippets of this happening, I'm like, she could be a serial killer that we don't know she's a serial killer. Ice cream? Oh my God. The class continued and he never called on me. He never spoke my name. He never even made eye contact. He was scared. And he should have been. But yeah, that's my mom. Then I'll tell you another story next week when I was a grown adult and she started pulling stuff. I mean, like amazing. Yeah, she did not cotton to people saying stuff adversely about her kids, like their weight. And back then, the 70s, people, like everyone commented on a girl's appearance, like everything. Fat, this, that. It was open season. So for people that think the good old days were better, I can assure you they were not. They were not. I mean, the stuff this teacher was saying to me, he would be automatically fired. He'd be like, bye-bye, see ya. But no, Mama handled it. So that's one of my stories. There are so many stories about my mom, which means you do need to read Trouble in Texas. It's a great book. But, my friends, in the Snarky Summer Book Club, we are talking about Killer Dance Mom. Y'all, this book is fun, and it's my first murder mystery because I love murders. Okay, that sounded wrong. I love like podcasts that deal with that. The first book I ever really loved was like Agatha Christie, all her books. I mean, one summer I spent reading every Agatha Christie book when I was a teenager. So this, I wanted to write a mystery. So I have been a dance mom for many years, but told my daughter, I go, Bella, I want to write a book about being a dance mom. She's like, well, you got to wait till I'm way done with competition dance because you're going to get me in trouble. So I waited until as soon as she graduated college, I was all over it. It's about crazy moms. And like I say, if you had a kid in any competitive sport, you will relate to all the crazy parents in Killer Dance Mom. Anywho, so a dance judge is killed. And they're trying to find out who killed him. And they think, it's a dance mom. He was beaten to death with a tap shoe, people. A tap shoe. So it's lots of fun. And it stars my main character, Wen, that is in all my other like snarky books. And she decides she's going to be an amateur detective because, she read Encyclopedia Brown as a child and listens to Dateline. So she thinks she knows it all. But it's a fun romp. People tell me they were surprised, who took out the dance judge. And I think you'll really enjoy it. So, and y'all, I was the worst dance mom. And this book features the main character who was the worst dance mom ever. I can't sew. I can't stone costumes. I can't do hair, evidenced by my hair currently. I couldn't do any of that, but I survived it. So please check it out. Amazon, audiobook, ebook, paperback. Go do it. You will not regret it. Oh, then last week the Ballet Guild book club read like Killer Dance Moms, so I came and talked to them. And ballet moms are not dance moms because that's different. That's different. So I was like a little afraid, but there were a lot of ballet dance moms in there, and then not a lot, but some, and then mainly there were people that had been former real ballerinas that like dance for the ballet and stuff. And it was funny to hear their stories. It was very funny, but it's a good book. I can wholeheartedly recommend Killer Dance Mom to you. So please go check it out. And y'all, I'm going to try to do more podcasts. I think I'm going to do 2 this week. I'm going to squeeze it in. I told my husband, it's taking away from me writing my book. I need to finish this book. And he's, I don't know, I'm going to try. I can't promise anything. But what I can say, if I could just talk and not have to do even brush my hair or put makeup on, I could swear to God do a podcast every day. But alas, I cannot because there's video and all that stuff. So I'll try my best. Thank everyone for listening. Please leave your comments. I love the comments because I think we learn a lot from the comments. Like, oh, maybe that advice wasn't that good about that letter. And I want to see if you would ditch whoever you were like traveling with for first class. Because, I just told you I would. And grandparents, what do you think? Stingy, bad, whatever. I say with grandparents, you get what you get and you got to accept it and move on and do your best. Life's not fair. Sometimes these people get great grandparents and sometimes you're stuck with duds. It just is what it is, people. Move on. Although it's hard to do that. But anyways, have a great day because you know what? You are indeed very, very fabulous. Talk soon.